Hey everyone, it's the TheAngryHoneyBadger, and it's time for us to take a look at the most recent patch notes for League of Legends. This is patch 3.03. All types of stuff happening in this patch. We're going to go ahead and cover it. I'm going to give you my input on it, and you can give me yours as well in the comments below. But let's just go ahead and start off with Amumu as the first champion, who's going to see some changes. Bandage Toss, there's going to be damage reduced on that a little bit, and then Curse of the Sad Mummy is going to have the radius on it reduced. Some changes here, nothing ridiculously horrible, but he does a lot of damage anyways. Actually look forward to a new build on Amumu from me coming up soon. I do have some footage that I need to put together, but nonetheless, there will be an Amumu build in the future, and it's pretty solid stuff. I'm pretty happy with the build, and hopefully you will be too when it's ready to go. After that, though, we have some Ashe stuff. Her attack speed per level is actually going to be increased a little bit, which I think is a little good thing to do with Ashe and some of these older champions. They need some little updates, because a lot of the newer champions coming out do way too much stuff, so they need to update some of these older champions to make them feel viable, kind of like some of the newer champions. Next, we have Darius, who is finally seeing a bit of a nerf. His Noxian Guillotine, when it uses it on a target, it will be recast within the next 12 seconds. This can happen over and over, but there's actually going to be this little bit of a recast time instead of immediate. So, a good change. He can't just run in and last hit everyone right away. He has to wait a little bit. And this time in between these kills, it's going to give you enough time to regroup and maybe kill him before you have to worry about another ultimate coming down on you so fast. So, finally a little bit of a change to his ultimate to kind of just bring him down to where he should be. A little surprised it took this long. Next, we do have Fiddlesticks. There's some just visual effects that are going to be changed on him. Nothing major, but gonna just see some little visual things, which will be nice. Next, we do have Garen. We have his Perseverance. The heal amount is going to be reduced to 0.4% of his maximum health per second from 0.5. Tiny bit of a change there, nothing huge. Decisive Strike, they fixed a bug on that. Courage, his passive adjust is now increased bonus armor and magic resist. For items, runes, and masteries by 20% instead of total armor and magic resist. So, a little bit of a change there, just kind of an adjustment more so. And then on Demacian Justice, we have a bug fix on that for cast time. Then it was faster than intended. So, little changes for Garen, nothing that should really affect his overall game too much though. Next, we do have Hecarim, his Rampage. The damage is going to be increased on that, which, not by a ton, but by a little bit, should help him out a little bit as the game goes on. And then Spirit of Dread, the healing is going to be adjusted to 20% at all ranks instead of it scaling from 10 up to 30%. The cooldown is going to be increased on that, or increased per level instead of 14 at all ranks. And then a bug fix on Spirit of Dread when starting it dealt more damage than it actually was. So, little changes to Hecarim, a little bit that'll help him, a little bit that won't do too much, but kind of slow him down just a little bit on that whole further cooldown increase. But the damage is good on his Rampage. He kind of needed that a little bit in my opinion. Next we do have Janna. We have her Monsoon. The mana cost on that is being reduced by quite a bit, which I would agree is good because it was expensive as hell to cast. Next we have Kassadin, the Netherblade. They fixed a bug on that, and then the active no longer deals damage to inhibitors or to the Nexus. So just kind of some little fixes, you could call them, nothing that really screw up his game too much. Next we do have Kayle. She no longer gains magic resist per level. Her Reckoning now no longer amplifies damage while the target is slowed, which is unfortunate. Now applies the stack of Holy Fervor to the target. Slow duration is being reduced by 1 second, and the slow amount is being adjusted to 35% at all ranks instead of it scaling up. The missile speed is being increased on it, which is, I guess, nice, so it gets there quicker, but you could call this a nerf for Kayle. She is a strong champion, though, if you do play her correctly. Probably won't see people maxing out her Q as fast anymore, so that's going to be a little bit of a change. They'll probably be picking up their points and their E ability on Kayle now, which is something I actually did a little bit more of just for easy farming and pushing hard. So you might want to turn her into a farmer and a pusher, but we'll see. This should affect her game, not horribly. It's just going to change it a little bit. She was just too strong early, and this is going to help target that a little bit. Next, we have some changes to Nidalee. She no longer gains magic resist per level. Her swipe ability, the ability ratio is actually going to be increased on that by 0.2, which is going to be a good change. And the aspect of Cougar no longer gains bonus armor and magic resist. Kind of a nerf, kind of a buff, kind of both. Her Cougar form was a bit stronger, and the ability change, or the ability power ratio change on swipe was something Riot wanted to do to kind of make the AP caster Nidalees jump into Cougar form and use it, because it is good to use. I talked about this in my 80 Nidalee build a while ago, a long time ago. I mentioned how a lot of Nidalees who play AP like to just stay in human form and throw spears. This is one way that they're trying to get people to negate themselves from only doing that, because it doesn't really help teams out that amazingly well in the long run. You need to get in there with Cougar form. So hopefully that ability power ratio adjustment will help her out there and make her a killer. She does lots of damage in Cougar form. I don't know why people don't use it more often to kill. So we're going to see some changes there. So a little bit of good, a little bit of bad for the Nidalee players. Next, we do have Renekton, Ruthless Predator. They fixed a bug on that. Nothing major, but, you know, now it can critically strike on the first attack, blah, 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 blah. Next, we do have Taric. His base attack damage is being reduced because it was actually fairly high for someone who came with a ton. His Gemcraft, his remade, is for that now. The Taric's basic attack deal bonus magic damage equal to 2% of his maximum mana. This bonus damage is doubled against champions. And then Shatter, the passive armor aura, is going to be adjusted to 12% of Taric's armor from what it was 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. Kind of a self-bonus, so it's going to be actually based off of his current amount. So kind of a good change on him. He's a really strong support. Probably has been one of the strongest supports for probably a year now coming up on. So these tweaks are to kind of help him out. If you watch the video, the patch notes, they show him and Tristana jumping around, murdering everyone because he was too good at getting in people's face, stunning them. He not only was tanky because of his passive armor he would pick up, but he does deal lots of damage. And you don't ever really see it because it's kind of a weird thing to do, but full AP Taric is almost disturbingly powerful because you can jump in there and you're kind of, I mean, you kind of usually die, but I've seen them jump in and flash, use everything and just make teams explode. So he does a lot of damage and he is mildly tanky. So some changes to his Shatter are going to happen. And then his Dazzle, the mana cost is being reduced on that. So he's seeing some mana reduction costs, which is going to be helpful. At least just make him feel a little bit nicer to play. But they're going to adjust him to make him a little bit less tanky early and a little bit just less damaging in lane. Because against a Taric in any AD carry was just a handful early on in a game. Next we do have Tristana. Kind of like Ashe, the attack speed per level is being increased for her, although her attack speed and her range increases with one of her abilities and with her passive. So this will help her out a little bit, which will be nice, but just a little bit of an update for an older carry, which is going to be nice to see. Next, we do have Tryndamere. His Bloodlust ability power ratio is being adjusted from 0.3 plus 0.012 Fury consumed to a total maximum of 1.5 max Fury from 1.5. So changes on these just to kind of go down a little bit. So it's for the AP Tryndamere players. I know AP Tryndamere has been popular lately, and it happened in a tournament as well. I'm going to say what I've always said. I'd rather have AD Tryndamere any day in a fight. I know AP Tryndamere is hilarious, and it does work fairly well, but I've gone up against AP Tryns, and if you know how to basically avoid the one or two things, you can pretty much murder them. So AP Tryn isn't worth it. Build him AD. It's way more devastating in the long run. Next, we do have Vayne. Some changes to her. Mana per level is increased to 35 from 27, and her Tumble, the mana cost, is actually being reduced. Nice changes to her, not going to really affect her too much besides just be a little bit helpful with the mana, so it's going to be good for Vayne. Next, we do have Vi. Her basic attack damage is being reduced by 4 at the level 1, so it'll be at 54 now. Her Vault Breaker now goes on a 3-second cooldown and refunds 50% of the mana when interrupted instead of fully refreshing the cooldown and refunding 100% of the mana cost. And then Denting Blows, the damage on that is being reduced just a little bit more early on, because it was quite devastating early. She is, in fact, quite good. These are a little bit of a nerf, but not really horribly, to be honest. She is a tank killer, and still will remain a tank killer in the long run, just because that max health is still going to be up at 10% in the long run on her Denting Blows. So, still a strong character. At least they're not taking the overall ratio down. It's just a little bit more early, because she is strong early when you get her Denting Blows off. Next, we have some changes to Shao. We have his charge. The damage is going to be reduced on that by a little bit, and the cooldown is going to be increased on it just by a tiny bit, not by a lot. This is going to help bring him down to a more manageable level. Good Zhao players have been running away with games, as we've seen in ranked 3s and all types of stuff. Our team's seen it because we've used him a lot because he's a strong champion if you're good with him. And then his Crescent Sweep, the base damage, is also being reduced on that by a little bit, and the cooldown is going to be increased on it a little bit. So, yes, it's a nerf. Shouldn't kill his game. He is one of the stronger champions and has been for a while. He'll still be a good champion. It'll just be one of those things where you need to just know how to play him correctly to get the correct amount of damage out of him. So go check out his build video that I made for him. It's still going to work great because it focuses on getting damage, so your numbers won't affect you so much. These are base stats, so base stats are important, but not as important as building items that are going to help you become more focused on your damage in the long run. Next, then, we are looking at Zed. His Razor Shuriken damage is actually going to be increased, and his Shadow Slash damage is going to be reduced by a little bit. So, a buff and a nerf, kind of going to keep him even, just kind of change it, and it'll help the people out who go for high-risk, high-reward situations. So, little changes to Zed. He's been pretty even because he's a high-skilled champ for the most part, using your shadows correctly. I haven't really played him in a while, actually, but he should still be good to go. Next is items that are going to be changed. We have Warmog. The passive health regen is being reduced to 1% of maximum health per 5 seconds instead of 1.5. You're getting some epic health regen from that item. It's kind of grabbed the passive from old school Force of Nature. May it rest in peace. But it's still going to be a definitely good item. Most people have been teaming up Warmogs with a Spirit Visage or Visage, however you want to say it. And that's something that they're going to do, so you're still going to get the bonuses when you pair those two together, so don't really worry about it too much. Next, we do have lots of changes happening to the Cutlass and to the Blade of the Ruined King. I'm going to sum this up a little bit quicker because there's a lot here. I'll go straight to the Blade of the Ruined King because the Cutlass is involved with it. The recipe has changed. It's Dagger, Dagger, Cutlass, and then Gold, which is going to be a little bit different, obviously, than what it was, which was just Cutlass and then Gold. And the attack damage is going to be reduced on it by 15, but it now grants 40% attack speed. Lifesteal is going to be increased to 15% from 10%, which will make it a little bit more viable for people who are actually looking for a legit amount of lifesteal, which is going to be kind of nice. Its unique passive deals 5% of the target's current health and bonus physical damage, and the unique active is 15% of the target's or champion's maximum health as physical damage. It heals for the same amount and steals 30% of the target's movement speed for 4 seconds. And then another unique active where the range is just going to go up on that, or not another unique active, just the active has a increased range on it. So what they're doing basically is they've removed the Blood Razor, and now Blade of the Ruined King is kind of Blood Razor again. So basically the problem with Blade was it was a good item, but it was tough as a carry to want to get it because 10% lifesteal wasn't good enough for compared to a Bloodthirster, so you weren't buying it because Bloodthirster was going to help you out. And then as much as it gave you percentage damage, you weren't getting any attack speed from it like the old Razor, so it was in a weird spot, and you were like, do I build it? It's not really worth it unless super late game, and it's my very last item, so I get a little bit more life, and I get that extra damage late game. Now it's going to be worth picking it up a little bit sooner, if that's something you know you're going to run into because they have 3 or 4 tanks or something like that. It's got better health regen, or that better lifesteal. I mean, it's going to be a lot better. And then the ability to pick up daggers, it's just nice. You'll get increased attack speed. The attack speed portion of this is what made Blood Razor a great item. Not only do you get that percentage damage, but you got attack speed out of the deal too. Kind of got a double whammy. You got damage, attack speed, and percentage damage. Now you're back to that again, and with some lifesteal, so this is going to be a great item for AD carries looking to just kind of punch teams that go really tanky. So this will be great in the long run. I'm glad they did this change, and it's nice to see that Blood Razor, as much as it's gone, and that's another sad one along with Force of Nature, Blade of the Ruined King's now going to be a great item to kind of fill that spot. Next, we are looking at Spirit of the Elder Lizard. The Incinerate damage is going to be reduced to 14 to 50 over 3 seconds from 15 to 66, so just kind of down a little bit, not too much. Alright, and then coming up with all types of other stuff, we have the new pings in the game, which hopefully we'll get to see coming up in future build videos, probably not right away because it just won't. But we're going to have Missing Enemy on the way, Danger, and Assist Me, so you'll see how that works. They talk about it in the patch notes if you want to go back and watch theirs. It's going to be a unique system, should be nice. I remember when they added just the retreat ping. Those 2 pings, I think, I thought those 2 worked. So we'll see how all these work out and see how all of that goes on for the game. All right. Now, the retreat behavior, blah, 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 blah. General. All right. I don't... is there anything in here that I really care about? No. I'm going to call it the end of the patch, because it's the end of the patch. So let me know what you guys thought of these patch notes. If there's anything you didn't like or things that you really did enjoy, put those in the comments below. I'm going to go out on a limb here and think that Nidalee people will be unhappy and that people who don't like Darius will be very happy. But nonetheless, guys, that's the patch notes. Let me know what you think. And other than that, I'll just see all of you in the next video.